Yo, what's up? It's your boy, Sir, CEO of the 2020 Podcast, LLC. You know what it is. And I just wanted to let you guys know that this is the next episode of Squad Goals. On this episode, we have a couple of guests. We got K. Marie of Black on Black Rhyme, also VP of the 2020 Podcast. And we got our homegirl, Kayla. If y'all been paying attention, and by the time this comes out, you've already seen our candid conversations. Kayla and I sat down on a one-on-one and just chopped it up. And it was probably one of my favorite conversations to date. Just outside of business. It was just two people just talking and just putting it on the table. And that's what it was. So shout out to Kayla for joining us. We really appreciate your love. You more than you know. So the topic of today, when we got done recording our last episode, and which was excellent, by the way, it was about marrying for other reasons than love, which is, if you haven't checked it out by now, go back and watch it before you watch this one. This episode, we're going to be talking about gender roles. Are they outdated? And how do they play into the concept of a relationship nowadays in our community? And we're talking about the Black side community. So that being said, I want to give the floor to Lauren. Lauren, I wanted to know what you thought about this concept of gender roles. But before I do, I just want to give out, and you know me, last couple episodes, I've been doing homework. So I want to give what the definition of a gender role was. And this is from the Oxford Dictionary, by the way. So I ain't just Wikipedia that thing this time. So a gender role, which is also known as a sex role, it's a social role encompassing a range of behaviors and attitudes that are generally considered acceptable, appropriate, or desirable for a person based on that person's biological or perceived sex. So, Lauren, I'm going to let you have the floor first. What are your thoughts on this idea of gender roles?
Well, being that I am married, growing up in a single parent home, I was taught from a single mother. So gender roles was always kind of drilled to me. A man takes out the trash, a man goes to work. You cook, you clean, you work if you want to. So, having to, watch my mom, be a single mom and do everything, I developed that wear the pants, quote unquote, energy. So I developed all of that, and I like to do everything. I like to work. I like to manage. I like to do everything but take out the trash. I think that should always stay a man's role. I don't think women should do that. I don't care. And I had a brother. So, I have a brother. So we've always had a guy there to do certain things, but, it was always instilled that a woman cooks, a woman's clean. So when I got married, I was so excited to be housewife. Well, who knew that I was going to get sick and have to lose my job and become housewife? That is the hardest job in the world. And to be back at work is the most exciting thing in the world. Because housewife, it's not just taking care of your husband, making sure his lunch is done, or, you have to do everything above the sun and make sure you have your mental health good and take care of the children and everything else. That role in general for a woman is everything. It's not just a gender role. A woman does everything, and for me, I feel like that role for me, it seems like if it becomes a money issue, if a woman works, if a woman doesn't work, if a woman makes more than her husband or her spouse or her partner or whatever, how do you feel about that? So for me, I don't think it should be a gender role. I think it's beyond outdated. And we do everything together. So that's what happens in my household.
Okay, interesting outlook. I wanted to bring this to the forefront because this is one of the topics I keep running into, especially with this podcast. I'll say about every 3 or 4 months or so, I get a new kind of interpretation of this topic. The first time we did it was what are gender roles in relation to dating. The second time we had to do it, it was what are gender roles in terms of, in the sense of community. And what I mean by that, when dating, of course, we're supposed to be chivalrous, opening doors, footing the bill and things like that. But when it comes to the community, it was brought to my attention that it's kind of skewed. It's viewed as if when it comes to supporting each other, or the masculine supporting and protecting the feminine, it seems that it's always supposed to be the man in the forefront taking the brunt, and then the women behind supporting. But a lot of times, and I'm just speaking from personal experience, I feel that that is outdated as well. I've seen a lot more social events, a lot of business events headed by women, and followed up upon men. So I want to give that to you guys. What are your thoughts as far as this concept of gender roles? Is it out of date? Does it need to be updated? Is it null and void? What are y'all thoughts?
So I believe roles should be assigned based off of who's best at it. So like say for instance, if I'm in a relationship and or in a marriage and my wife is better with money than what I am. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be I need to concede. And I think a part of that is knowing yourself and knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are to be able to, and also your partner's strengths and weaknesses as well. So that like if I'm not good at handling money, then she handles the money. Or like in my house, my dad did all the cooking. You know, my mind you, my mom she worked and she did like my dad worked too, but my dad always did all the cooking when it came to breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Like he because like his mom owned her own restaurant, so he knew how to do that. Even though my mom was in like the restaurant service business, like he always had that too. So like every one of my brother and my sister both know how to cook, but even before my sister learned how to cook, like me and my younger brother, we were the only like we learned how to cook and do things like that. So I think it's all based off of what benefits the household. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be now there are certain things that you do for somebody just because you care for them. And those are things that I don't consider roles, but just, labors of love. You know what I mean? So like going ahead, opening doors and things like that, like that's just showing someone that you care for them. But being able to do all the like, it all should just be based off of who's better at it. And then like when it comes to decision making, like I know sometimes they always say like the man has the final say. So like I think it needs to be still a conversation between people because I think it is a little bit outdated to be able to have a man trying to dictate things to a woman or things like that. So I mean I'm just all about kind of fixing and doing what's best for the family.
And what I took most from that is the mutual conversation.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think no cookie cutter definition is going to suit anybody's kind of expectations or lifestyle. For instance, what may work for Kayla may not work for Lauren. What may work for Lauren may not work for Buck. So I think it really goes into, like you said, playing into your strengths, kind of like a meritocracy kind of. Whatever you're good at, we're going to play to that. If you play in spades, I'm going to follow your suit. You know what I'm saying? You relay it with an ace, I'm going to follow through. Do you think, and I'm just asking the group this, do you guys think there's more to it? Do you think it comes with like this antiquated type of pride that comes along with it?
There's definitely a level of pride because when a man grows up being told there are certain things he's supposed to do. So when he doesn't fulfill those things that he was raised and taught to do, it's like something dies inside of him, almost like I'm not fulfilling what I was told I was supposed to do. But it's all about how you grow up too at the same time because there are things that I know I'm just not good at. Do not ask me to make macaroni and cheese. I can cook a whole lot of other stuff, but don't ask me to make macaroni and cheese. Shut up, Jeremy. I know he's gonna say macaroni and cheese, man. Anywho, don't there are certain things that I just give up and be like, I'm not good at this. I just started frying chicken like a couple years ago. It was never my strong suit, and I'm using that as an example to show there. If you as a man know that there are things you cannot do, don't be trying to go around here and be the man and then screw your life up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Don't screw your life up. If the female knows how to budget money better, like Wise said, let her budget the money. Bring your check to the house. You still get to buy your video games, and you still gonna get to, like me. I use my girlfriend. She said, how are you paying bills? I was like, well, you know what I'm saying? I put a little bit on this one. I put a little bit on that one. You know what I'm saying? I put a little bit on that one next month. She said, no, we don't do that no more. I was like, we don't? So she writes out this list. You're going to pay this whole thing this time. Then you're going to pay this whole thing next time. That way you ain't got to be saying, well, I need another payment arrangement. I can tell you last time I made a payment arrangement on the bill. Like, I was living payment arrangement to payment arrangement to payment arrangement to payment arrangement to payment arrangement. You know what I'm saying? Like, bill $100, $150, I'm gonna put 75 on it. And I'm gonna put this down. No, I was not good at it. She told me I was not good at it. And that's what some men fail at. They get told they're not good at something, then be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Nah, bro, if you ain't good at that junk, you ain't good at that junk. If you can't play basketball, don't try to try for the NBA. So that's all I got to say.
Good point. Good point. I think it has to do with that security of yourself, being able to step back and be like, you know what, she's better at this. Let me step in. Kay, look like you have something to say. Kay Marie, what you got for me?
I thought you said Kayla.
I got and I promise you I got lost. I was like talking to you.
That's what I'm saying. But you said K. I got it. Okay. I kind of agree with Mr. Strokes here on basically whatever we're good at. I do live in the 1960s, evidently, because I am the stay-at-home mom and I take care of the girls. She had something to say, evidently. But I am a stay-at-home mom and I take care of the girls. As you can see, I'm taking care of one right now because he's not home from work yet. You see what I'm saying? So we didn't plan for it to be that way. It just so happened that it behooved us to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? The expense of daycare, and it wouldn't have been worth it for me to be paying out of pocket for daycare when I could just stay at home with the girls. I guess that's a better way for me to say it. So that's how it ended up. And as for us being whoever's better at something, he was essentially better at finances, but he just helped me be better at it. As opposed to him having to take that load and that load on. We just equaled it out to where, you know, I'm handling the bills, I'm paying this, that, and the other. Now, mind you, I do make my own money as well. But my title officially is stay-at-home mom, but I'm a photographer, I'm a poet, and I'm a podcast, mate. But I do make my own money. So it's not like he's footing everything, but he is the sole breadwinner, if you want to put it that way. And I do cook and clean, but he cooks and cleans too. I just do it more than him because I'm here looking at everything. And that was just us being fair to each other. So that he doesn't have an overload of this and I don't have an overload of that. It was a great balance for us to be able to, participate with life. It stays turned over here. Okay. All right. Her birthday's tomorrow. Hey. She is all the way turned up. But it stayed right. Leo season. I knew you was gonna say something. But yeah, she stays turned up. But this way it just helps us figure life out together. You know what I'm saying? So if I have a weakness, then okay. If I have a weakness, then, he picks up that slack. If he has a weakness, vice versa, so that together, we're more whole, but we try to help each other in our weaknesses so that we're whole by ourselves and we be together. You know what I'm saying? Because, we're unfortunately together, not time that. But that's basically what I have to say on those particular gender roles. So she ain't gonna let me talk. So you go to somebody else. Kayla, I think it's your turn.
So, Eternity, you rub your hands like Birdman, bro. Let's get it. Let's get it.
So, I think the biggest thing I want to go back just a little bit when we were talking about gender roles and how we were raised. I grew up in a 2-parent household, luckily, where they didn't really exist, if that makes sense, because both my mom and my dad could cook. Even when it came to the holidays, like my dad did all the heavy stuff, and my mom would do like a lot of the sweets, and she would do like some of the sides and things of that nature. Even when I got old enough to do so, even I stepped in to help. I love to cook. That's not something that um, I think is reserved per se, for the woman of the house. But like we was talking about earlier, when there are some things that you just aren't as good at, it's okay to step back and not be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? My girl is a beast on the grill. I would much rather let her do all the grilling, and I would fix the sides because I don't want to mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and rightfully so, she is a chef, so she has that cadence and background and things of that nature. So she understands to do all the other kind of stuff. But I also grew up in this household where I watched chivalry be presented. You know what I'm saying? So it was always one of those things where it was like, you know, my dad paid the bills. Now, if my mom was lacking, my dad was lacking a little bit, or a check was short, or something was higher than imagined, then that's where my mom would step in to kind of contribute to that. And I find it being a generational difference, almost like because that's how we were raised. That's what it is. I see a lot of younger people, and I say younger, I'm talking about 25 and under per se, that have entitlement, um, this sense of entitlement, or what seems to be a sense of entitlement, because it's like a man's supposed to do this, 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 and I'm supposed to just sit pretty. It don't quite work like that. So I think all in all, it depends on how you were raised, what you can contribute, and how you two decide that best balances the situation. Um, I don't think that saying that one person should do this while the other person does this should exist. Honestly, I feel like there are things that a man is meant to do, but I don't think it should be one of those things where it's like, oh, you got to do this because you're a man. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are things like Lauren was talking about, taking out the trash. Yeah, like, babe, I got that. Don't touch that. You know what I'm saying? When it comes time to having to change a tire on a car or something like that, great, I will do that. Things of that nature. But I also feel like women should know how to change a tire, because what happens if you get caught on the side of the road and I'm not available to come to you, or someone's not immediately available to come to you? That is something that she should know how to do, just in case she doesn't have any help or no one stops. Because people are rude. You know what I'm saying? People are rude, and people won't always stop to help you. So there are just certain life skills in general I feel like people um, should learn. Like I said, I think that same way I'm talking about, women should learn how to change a tire. Men should know how to cook, especially in college, because you can't go to college and have high cholesterol at 22 because all you can eat is ramen noodles. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things where I'm not a fan per se of gender roles, and I just know that life skills should be developed between the two, because that's really the only way that you can grow as a couple. So that's my take.
Spoken like a champ, bro. Spoken like a champ. Caleb, with the sleeve showing. Let's go, girl.
Yeah. So how I feel about it, I mean, like, I know gender roles are definitely taught. You know, they are definitely taught at the beginning. And naturally, you feel like the dominant is supposed to take over everything, whereas the submissive, or the feminist, is supposed to stay in the house and just kind of figure out housework. Um, but righteously, I feel like now things just has kind of like turned around in general. You know what I'm saying? You got more women dominant when we taught, even in the classroom, like in history class. You go to history class, you got this woman, you got this man. You know what I'm saying? This man here, he's the alpha, the person that's gonna lead, and it's kind of showing in the world, whereas the woman just take care of the household. I just, like, now I just feel like it's backwards. A lot of men, I ain't gonna say a lot of men, a lot of boys don't know how to do what you guys are talking about. They don't. Especially the upcoming generation. Like it's ridiculous to me. You know what I'm saying? But women, like I said, women now real masculine. They gon' at this point here, they're like the breadwinner, the hustler, and it's good, but it's just like that's naturally. It's always supposed to be a man. So I don't. It's hard now. I'm just gonna say that. You know, due to the fact that like I'm considered as a masculine woman, but it's a lot of stuff I can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff I can't do. So you like it just contradicts stuff to me personally. You know what I'm saying? Even if you know what I'm saying, a man shared a woman role, but it's crazy how women is taught to be in the kitchen, but men can cook better than women in some or most takes. You know what I'm saying? That's a big controversy right there. Or if you go to like if you go like a mechanic shop, you got some ladies that are being like the dominant people that's actually working and doing the work versus some like a dude just sitting in the background watching her do what a man's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I just think it's reverse. It's reverse right now, and it need to be taught in early on in the age. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me though. I'm kind of old school when it come down to it. You know, boys take out the trash and help with the big stuff, while the girls, you know what I'm saying, sweep, clean the dishes, and all the other good stuff. That's the era I grew up in, so that's what I kind of know.
It's funny that you brought that up, and I hope I ain't cut you off because that's exactly what I was brought into. Majority of my family had the old school mindset, like all my great aunts and uncles and stuff. The uncles and stuff was outside doing everything. And with me being younger, I was stuck inside being raised by all the women. So naturally, I have like this balance of learning how to cook at a young age just because shit in the kitchen smelled good. So I was naturally in the kitchen with them. You know what I'm saying? I was that little kid licking the little cake mixing spoon, you know what I'm saying? Because it smelled good in that motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But after a certain age, and some of y'all could probably attest to this, after a certain age, my mom and my aunts would be like, go outside and see what your uncle's doing. Go out there and learn something. They working on the car. Go learn how to do something. And I was like, well, damn, I can't learn how to, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to cook no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to learn how to get my beignet game on point. You know what I'm saying? But I get it though. It goes back to the point of what Eternity said. And this is where I felt like gender roles did help me a little bit. And maybe we need to reclassify it as life skills. I did learn about a radiator. I did learn about tire pressure. I did learn about, you know, how to change the tire. All these things that helped me out in the long run. Don't get me wrong. I was mad as shit that I was outside getting ate by mosquitoes, but I'm thankful for it because when shit hit the fan, I knew what to do. So I do think that's important to carry that knowledge into, you know, whomever you're talking to. I'll be riding in the car just having random conversation with my nieces, and I'll be like, you know how to change your tire? You know what a four-way is? You know what I'm saying? You know what a lug nut is? Just general stuff like that. And it gets on their nerve, but it's the fact that they need to know. I don't want them to have to find this out from somebody who's trying to take advantage of them or see a guy or a woman, whomever they may choose, as a utility versus a person, if that makes sense. You know? But I'm going to pass it over to Rob. Appreciate you coming, bro. I want to definitely hear what you got to say, brother.
Appreciate you for having me. I actually got a friend. I don't know if this is against the rules or anything, but that's my friend right there. What's up, Chuck?
Salute.
And we both got some stuff to say. But
come on with it.
I'm going to try not to curse too much. But
cuss all you want.
I'm pro, do whatever the fuck you know how to do. So if the dude know how to cook. If the girl know how to cut grass, I don't like it personally. I don't think a woman should cut grass. But some of them like to do it. If they want to do it, by all means, go out there and push that stupid ass lawnmower. You feel me? I just feel like the old school way it has its flaws, but it does have some good like life skills. Just like you turned to say, like you learn a lot of life skills with it. But I don't think it should just be with like certain genders. And like just because the woman is supposed to cook, she might not like to cook. Just because the man like to, you know what I'm saying, do other stuff, doesn't mean he should do that. Like it shouldn't be gender exclusive to certain stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's what, yeah.
Like everybody should know how to cook. Everybody should at least know how to change the tire. Just like you said, you don't want them to get taken advantage of. Like on the side of the street, it's late, it's dark. Something could happen to any and everybody, especially you don't want to have to pay for it, because why would you want to pay for it when all you got to do is go and get the tools? You know what I'm saying, have it in your trunk and you good to go. So I do feel like it's outdated. We should change it, and I do feel like the roles are a bit more reversed too. I do see a lot more harder females and softer dudes. And I don't necessarily say I don't like it. I am confused by it though. Like some of these women are actually out here taking care of these dudes because they out here hustling hard. Black women hustle hard. They make a lot of money. You know, it's not for them to do some hair, eyelashes, like start a business, sell clothes, all that stuff. Dudes, we just gotta be like, if you ain't like the alpha male or like got a good degree, it's gonna be harder for you. And then it isn't that many job opportunities that we can create, and like black men are supported the way that black women support black women. You feel me? So it's a bit weird, but I am pro do whatever the fuck you want to do. But I do think that y'all should have the discussion. Say for instance, like, I'm gonna take out the trash if you want to do the dishes, or I can do the dishes and you can sweep and stuff like that. It all depends on who the spouse is, who you're talking to, and what they like to do. And that's all I got to say.
What's up, y'all? So my upbringing is kind of similar to yours, sir. We didn't really have gender roles like that in my house. When I was real young, my dad used to work in a factory. But when I was 5 or 6, he was playing basketball and he tore both his patella tendons. He couldn't walk for 9 months. So he lost his job, couldn't work. My mom had to become the breadwinner. And, you know, it was like that whole idea, like gender roles and what a man's supposed to do around the house kind of don't make sense when you can't walk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like less like about gender roles and more doing what you got to do to keep your house afloat. Now, I feel like today, people don't really have like realistic expectations of gender roles. Like, for example, like you have somebody, they want like a church girl, but you got to like think about that. Like, are you the type of person that a godly woman would want? You know what I mean? Or say if you want somebody that's like more outgoing, but if you're not that, you know what I'm saying? People are like, you're not your ideal match is the ideal match. Basically what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of don't make sense. I feel like what you said earlier is like really rampant. People feel entitled and they want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I feel like the longer you're with somebody, the less you less you care about the world's expectations, and you care about, you know, doing what you got to do to maintain like your house if y'all living together. So I think we are moving away from the whole gender role thing, like as a society. But, you know, I do think there's still men and women that are, you know, they want that traditional lifestyle. They want a traditional spouse. But I think that people need to be cognizant. If that's what you're looking for, you got to be what that person is looking for as well. So that's how I feel about it.
You gotta practice what you preach. Essentially, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's important. Now, Kay did write some in the chat, and I'm gonna say it out loud because, of course, the video doesn't display the chat, or I haven't figured out how to do that yet. But it says it's interesting that no one sees gender roles, but everyone has mentioned roles for men and roles for women because of our upbringing. I think that is true, Kay. I won't say it's contradictory. It's
It plays a role. It plays a big role in our life in general because that's what we taught from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like even in psychology, if you go to psychology class, it starts off, basically, you know, your parents teach you, okay, you got a girl part, he got a boy part. You know what I'm saying? Then as you go older, okay, girls sweep and do dishes, boys mow the lawn and play outside. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just basically how it's taught. So it kind of when you start not to see no role, it'd be like a later time, and you just really trying to make sense to it. But me personally, it's just like if the gender role kind of, I guess, descend away or kind of like vanish, what's gonna happen? What you think is gonna happen if those roles? You know what I'm saying? What's those roles?
I agree, and I think give it more time. I'm not going to say in our lifetime. I'm going to say give it about 50 years. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to dissipate in this age of technology, the age of change. I think it's going to fully dissipate. You're going to have people that, are just looking for characteristics, or looking for compatibility versus, what you physically can do, what you financially can do. Because you may be great at mowing the lawn and you might find a woman who is the breadwinner. She might, do all the taxes and stuff. She might keep everything in order. She just hate doing yard work. And you might have that fire ass conversation that she's looking for. It might work for y'all. So it's all about how you compliment that person that you're looking for. I think we use gender roles as kind of a model because that's what we saw before us. I'm gonna get you in just a second, Lauren, because I want to make sure Ebony gets her point too. But I think we looked at it as like a model, but slowly but surely that model is like being chipped away, dissolved, and kind of dissipating as time goes. What about you, Ebony? But I got you, Lauren. We're gonna get you next, baby.
Okay. So yeah, y'all made some real good points out there. One thing I wanted to add, like me and Lauren were both saying about the conditioning, I've always viewed, not always, let me go back. After I got out of high school and went to college, I viewed gender roles, or started to view gender roles, as more of manipulation in a way, or control, let's say control. Because there were times when I can remember trying to go outside and playing with the boys. Say, for instance, I was the only girl around the house, and I'm trying to go outside and play with the boys. My granddad would look at me and be like, girl child's supposed to be in the house with the women. Girls not supposed to be out here. You need to be in the house with your mama. Or there would be times when I would try to play video games with my little cousins, and, because they home for the summer, I'm the only chick. I can't play the video games, but at the same time, they can't play with my baby dolls. So I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. That's just what it was. And I feel like it's all they knew. Back then, their gender role was their identity. And it wasn't about balance. It was about maintaining the status quo that was already set before you. So I think now we're learning that it doesn't have to be this certain way. We don't have to sit here and maintain everything that we were taught. We actually have the thought process to say, hey, well, I love to cook. I just don't want to cook Monday through Friday. I only want to cook on Saturday, Sunday. So I'm just going to cook on Saturday, Sunday. Or if, say, for instance, with me, say, for instance, if I was married and my husband was a better nurturer, I feel like just because he's a man, that doesn't mean that he can't be a nurturer. That doesn't mean that he can't exude that feminine trait. Because I feel like men, women, everybody, because it's only two sexes, like everybody has both male and female aspects. I feel like it's balanced based on who you are, not necessarily on what somebody else says you are or who you are. So I feel like you have to find that balance within yourself and then bring that to the table like that. And like you said about compliments, I feel like that's where the compliments come in. that balance. If you know what your balance is and he know what his balance is, then y'all know whether y'all puzzle fit together. Y'all puzzle pieces fit together. So that's just what I think. I'm gonna leave it right there because I had some old. Oh, I just also want to make it known not all men know how to change tires. I have dated a man that did not know how to change my tire, so he had to call somebody else. After he finally got to me, he called somebody else to come to us to change my tire. So, and it happened to be a woman at that. So I just want to make it known that just because we mentioned that all females don't cook, all men don't know how to change tires either, or mow the grass, or wash their clothes. So there's that balance.
I got a question real quick. So how y'all feel about the saying, like, supposed to be like, my daddy tell me if a man don't know how to change the child, do what you need him to do, then why you with him? How y'all feel about that statement?
I'm gonna just come on out and burst the bubble in the room. So I give you a quick synopsis, and I'm gonna touch on what Evan has said. So I grew up in a household where it was me, my mom, my dad, my sister. My mom and dad got divorced 2000, so up in there. So about that time, I was 10 years old, where I should have been learning how to do a lot of stuff. My dad, most of everybody's on here from Mobile. My dad lived all the way in the bottom. I lived in DIP. I ain't see my daddy for real, unless we went on that side of town. So I didn't have that male around me teaching me stuff. I'll go ahead and say it. I still do not know how to change a tire. Straight up. That's a lot of other shit I know how to do. It's a lot of shit I don't know about cars. Straight up. Point blank period. Now it's a lot of shit that I'm learning because I bought my first car. But my dad, who was supposed to be in that position and teaching me that shit and supposed to be doing that shit, dropped the damn ball. And he wondered why I be feeling the way I be feeling about him sometimes. He dropped the ball. It wasn't my uncle's job to teach me that. It wasn't the guys at the church to learn how to teach me that type of stuff. My dad is supposed to teach me that type of stuff. Now, do I believe I can still learn how to change a tire and do it successfully? Yeah, of course. I have enough common sense and brain sense. So I grew up in a house with women. Y'all know my sister. You know what I'm saying? Robert, I cook a whole meal, whole house be busting. I can cook on the grill. I was on the grilling, outside on the grill, to the kitchen frying fish, to doing all the other type of stuff. All that type of stuff I know how to do. I can bake a whole cake. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot but there are other manly things, of course, I know how to do. There are other manly attributes. I can cut grass. Now, I'm going to be sick as a dog because I got allergies, but I like cutting grass. I do. I like that shit. I like to make that shit line up, go belt down, back and forth. I can weed eat, pull. I can do all of that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, I was slighted. I was slighted by my dad, by him not stepping in and doing those things that he was supposed to do. I look at my dad now, he just still don't be doing shit. I mean, straight up, man, he still don't be doing shit. I mean, so, yeah, I got that off my chest. I'm going to put my phone back on mute now.
You mind if I chime in real quick?
Go for it.
Cause I don't want to forget this, and like all of this stuff, Lauren was like, fix your face. All of this stuff has been loading the entire time that I've been listening to this conversation. So I want to pull back just a little bit, and we talked about conditioning in the South, and this is a whole nother topic for another conversation. But we often talk about how Black mental health is not discussed well enough, especially by Black men, and it's because as men we have been conditioned that we're not supposed to show our emotions, that we're not supposed to show our feelings, that we're not supposed to know, or not that we're not supposed to know, but like you talked about these gender roles and how cooking is supposed to be this and that. Talk about conditioning not only in your household, but you think about the conditioning that you had to deal with when you were in school. Guys weren't supposed to take home ec. What you doing at home ec where you learning how to sew an apron, where you learning how to cook, where you learning how to do all of this other kind of stuff? You were made fun of. You were called names. You were called out of your gender identity. You were called out of all of this stuff because now it's a lot more. It's not PC to say certain things. But when I was coming up and when I graduated from high school, um, yo, there was no PC anything. You know what I'm saying? If people thought you was away, they thought you was away, and they was gonna call you that. They didn't give a damn how you felt about it or not. You know what I'm saying? You even think back to how you get women who talk about how they want a man with dirty fingernails because that means that he's masculine and that he did all this other kind of stuff. But then I joined a fraternity that made you make sure that your fingernails were cut and that they were trimmed and that they were clean because no woman wants to be touched by dirty hands and that no, as a man, that it's okay to have strong hands, but it's okay to take care of yourself. But it was not okay to take care of yourself. Like they made it not okay to take care of yourself. Then they tried to label it metrosexual because you were okay with clothes that actually fit. That you wore a polo and a button down or a button down and some slacks, or you wore suits and things of that nature. Like they tried to label you something that all you were was being you. You were being a man. You were being an adult. You were being grown. Just because I never wanted to wear my pants hanging off my ass didn't make me any less of a man in anything that I did, period. But to too often we are conditioned to believe that we're not supposed to do certain things once again because of gender roles and how we are conditioned. Now, I'm gonna pull back to what Malcolm was talking about, and even what Ebony was talking about. Yeah, you absolutely right. Not all men know how to change a tire. I'm not saying all men know how to change a tire. There's a lot of stuff on the car that I can do. There's a lot of stuff on the car I can't do. That's what mechanics are for. That's what mechanics get paid for. But then you also go back to talking about what Rob was talking about. And black women are on they shit right now. I know so many women under the age of 25, under the age of 30, whatever the case may be, that are selling hair, that are doing lashes, that are doing anything that they can. They got boutiques. They are doing everything that they can to develop this sense of independence. And so I completely understand that why would a woman want a man that can't contribute to her empire that she's already building? But likewise, it's almost frowned upon if a guy who has his shit together doesn't want to be with a woman who don't have her shit together. Like, oh, you supposed to fall in love right now and you can build off of love and you can no fuck all that. Because the bottom line is if I got my shit together and I did everything that I was supposed to do as a man and I was raised the right way, I did everything that I was supposed to do, I did everything that I needed to do, I got the education, I pay the bills, I can cut my own grass, I can cook my own meals. What the fuck I need you for if you can't contribute to this relationship? Period.
I can make my own pizza rolls. Get your ass on.
Look, eternity.
like for real.
You hold on. I gotta put eternity in timeout. You just went the fuck off. Cool off, goddammit. Yeah, it's
I
just
thought he was performing, y'all. I thought he gave us the whole show.
For real. Like
Bro, here the pause. I thought the pause was going to start.
Like women know
Gender
now.
roles, men
Women
and
know
women.
now. They can't do nothing with a dude that ain't doing nothing. But yeah, if a dude got some money and he with a girl who ain't got nothing, it's just frowned upon. Like that's double standard to me, and I don't like it. Cause pro do whatever the fuck you want to do.
It's the point he
Like,
made about the pants sagging.
Yeah,
I make $35,000 a year, and I got my own apartment and my own shit. But if my pants ain't sagging, you don't want to fuck with.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Almost like, and it goes to the word he used, condition.
Yeah.
Some females, not all, some females are conditioned to believe that is a gold medal or piece of attainment. Like, my nigga be in the street selling them drugs, and that's my nigga, he be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're told that that's what they're supposed to have.
I'll say this. It's a two-way street. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let Lauren have it because I was supposed to let Lauren have it like 4 people ago. So I ain't forget about you. It's a two-way street. Whereas some women have, and I call it young-minded. I'm just gonna call it spade a spade. When you're looking for what looks good to wear across your arm, that's what you celebrate. So if you're young, and that goes across all age groups, all demographics, everybody likes trophies. But at the end of the day, if a trophy can't compliment you when the lights aren't on, what the fuck you got a trophy for? And I've seen that done with men and women. I've seen men who only deal with women who got a fat ass. But if you ask her what a stereotype is, she gonna say Sony. You feel me? So I've seen it on both ends. It's a two-way street. So go ahead, Lauren.
Eternity actually touched on a lot, and Ebony. The one thing I did want to say was when Rob made the statement about younger women, Black women being on their stuff and not a lot of Black men having the same opportunities, like things aren't presented to them or they won't get the same support. With the gender role, quote unquote, is not okay. Like when we go to work, we have to deal with all types of shit. And then we have to come home and be the quote unquote housemaker, Betty maker, whatever you want to call it. So for me, that was like but I understand that was like agree to disagree kind of thing. As far as the gender roles, like as far as the cutting grass, I think we were just like cracking jokes about the tires, the grass, and we make less as women. Black women, I go through hell. I actually lost my last job because my boss called me an overachiever. He told me that I did nothing wrong on my every evaluation I had was spotless. In my evaluation, he wrote that I was an overachiever and that I needed to slow down because I was good at my job. So that for me lit a fire in me to go be my own boss because I didn't want to have somebody, make me put me in a box anymore. You see what I'm saying? And then as far as our household, when it comes to my husband and I, we don't have a lot of, he grew up, my husband, a lot of y'all know, if most y'all know, my husband is Asian, so he's conditioned, like we said, to take care of the household, no matter what. No matter how tired he is, exhausted, it don't matter. In a family, men take care of everything, women sit down, do nothing. So for me, with us, it had to become a pride thing. The pride thing you have when the men, some men can't come to you and say, babe, I can't handle this. For them, it feels like they're failing at their job and at their role that they're supposed to be good at. So some men can't accept not being good at something or not, you know what I'm saying? Because in their mind, they're failing. You see what I'm saying? And when a man feels like he's failed, he starts to clam up. He starts to go into the shell. He goes into a place that he doesn't need to go to, and then as far as like knowing how to do a lot of stuff for me, I grew up again in a single parent home, so I had to do both. My mama was one of those things, if the check was short, we didn't have nobody to come back. It was like, okay, I'm gonna make some shake and we'll be back. That's how I grew up. So I'm a hustler by nature. I'm intrigued by everything. I know how to change the tire. I even know how to wire your house because I went to become an electrician just because I wanted to learn how to do it. I didn't finish the program. It was too damn hot out there, but I learned how to do it, because I was intrigued. You ain't gonna meet nobody like me. Just like I might meet nobody like you. You know what I'm saying? But like he said, it comes with compliments. But I think a lot of it is, like you said, it has to do with your household. But with men, I think it has to be like a support system as well. Like they have to have not only somebody compliment them, but somebody that'll encourage them and give them the opportunity to be vulnerable or help them understand that it's okay to make a mistake. Because like you said, we're conditioned at a young age, like the whole not being able to have feelings and stuff. My husband didn't cry. Like he don't cry. Like it took him one day and he started crying one time and I was like, what the hell? Like, I had been begging him to, show his emotions because he's conditioned to not cry, to not show emotion, to suck it up, to bury it. And it wasn't until we got together that actually happened. And it was like he cried for so long. And I was like, well, damn, how long I've been paying your back? I didn't say it, and I felt his pain, but it was almost like it was hurting me because it was sad that you guys have to go through that. Y'all are conditioned to not even show your emotions at all, and like Eternity said, how people stereotyped you in school, the bullying, quote unquote, if you didn't look a certain way, if you wanted a certain thing, if you wanted to, do a certain thing, you were already labeled, you were already cast out. And I think that alone goes with how you condition and how you grow up to take care of your things in the household. not only from your household, but what you had to go through in school too. Because sometimes that shit still is buried deep down, and you don't even realize that. Damn, it's still affecting me that people thought I was gay because I had clean nails and I wanted to cook. You know what I'm saying? So it's some stuff is still affecting people, and people don't really acknowledge that. But that's all. I love y'all.
Word. Go ahead, bro.
Kind of bouncing off you were saying, Lauren. I do think it's kind of a misconception that men are like absolutely conditioned not to open up. We're conditioned not to open up around women. I've been on football teams. I went to military school. I've been places where it's like nothing but dudes, and like we're vulnerable around each other. We're taught not to be like that around women. I don't know why it's like that. I know with me, my mother, she didn't want to raise no punk. Like those her words. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody bullied me, we was going to their house and shit. I was either gonna win or lose, but I was gonna fight. That's how it's gonna happen. With my dad, it wasn't really like that. I would, and like he would catch me trying to, not show my emotions and let me be like, he would let me like, it's okay if you feel like this. You could cry like I'm your daddy. You can cry around me. I've seen it with my football coaches. He used to bring his 6-year-old son to practice, and one day the boy fell, hit his head on the bleachers, and he was just sitting there like trying as hard as he can not to let it out, not to cry. But the little boy's 6, he hit his head on metal. And so his dad called him over, and he was like, you around us, you around the team, you could cry around us. And, I think it's weird. Kids pick up on gender roles and what they are and aren't supposed to do very early. My daughter is 4, and she's always like, you're a boy, Daddy, you can't do this. Daddy, why you wear, I got this pink polo I like to wear. Daddy, you wear pink, like stuff like that. And I don't know, it's weird because like the gender roles, I feel like only come into a play when you're around the other gender.
Certain people, yeah, exactly. I agree. That's crazy that you say that, because I was just listening to Sean T's podcast, and the quote one of the people said, you know how when a child falls, like you said, a little boy was falling, he was trying his hardest not to cry. We're conditioned to say, it's okay, get up, don't cry. Instead of just saying it's okay, cry, let it out. Just, let it be, because we're already teaching them, even if they fall, whether it's a little girl or a little boy, to not even show their emotion.
Right.
Don't make, what I'm saying, I don't know if you guys ever heard it, don't make a sudden mood if a little kid falls, because they don't start crying if they see that you care. You see what I'm saying? So It's already like we're conditioning them anyway, regardless, not even knowing that we're doing it, because it was instilled in us. Like we said, we were conditioned, and we're fighting against it to get it out of us. But it's hard when that's something that you've been through your entire life, and you do stuff indirectly. Like for me, as little girls, you don't sit in no man lap. And I teach my daughter that. But at the end of the day, she just sitting in her daddy lap. She don't know that this man, that people out here raping and it's pedophiles out here. You know what I'm saying? But these are the things that I'm saying that we're conditioning ourselves, and we're teaching them indirectly, and we don't even know. So that
definitely. I see myself doing that a lot. Like my youngest, she's 1, and like she'll wear like a little tank top or something, and it'll start falling down, and like her nipple will come out. I'm like, oh, baby, don't do that. Blah, blah, blah,
right,
blah, blah.
Because
but it's like
it's sad.
That's not even something that crossed her mind. That's not even something that's me. That's me tripping. Like it's not even only crossed her mind. Yeah, so I do think gender roles come into play when there's actually 2 genders present. I will say this, guys, we do put on a show when women are around. Like it's no secret. We do act a certain way, but like if you go into like a football locker room or like into the barracks at like my military school, like you'll see dudes like doing stuff that a lot of people quote unquote consider gay. Like, you know what I mean? Just like random, like, how like women will show like physical affection. Like some dude might just come lean, like I might lean up on Rob like this if he was in my barrack. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, what you doing, bro? Blah, 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 blah. He's sitting on the computer. And it's not, you don't think nothing of it. But it's like when you get around that other gender, now it's like you got to play that role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's everybody's cast.
You got to become somebody else.
It's an audition for it, basically. And nobody wants to play that part.
Oh, that's a good word. You said it's an audition. That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's real good. I agree.
Yeah, that's all I had to say, though.
I just feel like even with all of the opinions that have been said, I think that our generation is trying to break that mold, because even like I told you, I have daughters, like, you know, they're going to know how to change a tire. They're going to know how to take the trash out. I don't even take out the trash. You know, that's our thing. You don't fold clothes. I don't take out trash. That's what it is. But that ain't got nothing to do with me being a female and him being a male. And that's just what it is. But I know that our girls are going to know how to, you know, play ball. They're going to know how to, you know, throw a football and how to tackle. Like, they're going to know how to fight, you know, all of that. Because I feel like as a person, we all need to be well-rounded. You know what I'm saying? And he feels that way too. And like I was saying, even with us, you know, we have certain things that, you know, manly. I put that in the chat that we keep saying, oh, this is the manly thing to do. You know, I do men stuff like this, or, you know, I'd rather her do girly stuff like this. You just said that when you were talking about your little girl. But I mean, I think that we're so conscious of it now that we're trying so hard to break that mold. So by the time it gets to our children having children, I feel like there's not going to be any gender roles, especially on account of, I mean, we can talk about as Dave Chappelle would say, the alphabet people. But we will talk about them and their fight, you know what I'm saying, to be equal in this and equal in that, you know what I'm saying. I lost my whole train of thought because I started laughing in my head. But they're even trying to not make this so mannish, or not make this so, you know, girlish. I identify as this, therefore this is what I want to do. I identify as this, therefore this is what I want to do. So I think that within the next 2 generations, all of these roles are going to be broken. And I'm very, very interested to see what's going to come out of it. Like, what's it going to be? Is it going to be all female mechanic classes and all female? There's already all female like motorcycle clubs and things like that, and you don't expect to see them. You know, somebody said, hey, you know, girls. I want to say it was Rob. Girls don't want to get their hands dirty. You know, girls supposed to be over here. And Ebony was like, you know, the man child, the girl child's supposed to be in the kitchen. I don't know why I wanted to say girl child, but the girl child wasn't supposed to be in the kitchen. This, that, and the other. I just feel like all of that is about to cease and desist, and I think that. Honestly, I think the world's going to be better for it, because it's not going to be an expectation. I always feel like expectation is the greatest form of heartbreak. So if we walk into something, I want to be in the motorcycle club too. But if we walk into something and expect this, if I walk up to a door and there's a man in front of me, am I supposed to expect the man to hold the door for me? I get men all the time. If I'm walking to a gas station, I hold the door for men. They be like, no, you can go in. No, you go ahead, brother. And it's not that I'm against chivalry or anything, but I just feel like y'all need to see what it feels like too. You know what I'm saying? So I guess that's just my viewpoint on it. But I feel like everything is supposed to be well-rounded, because as individuals, that's how we become a better individual. When you have this part of this side and this part of this side, and it comes together, everybody needs the yin and the yang, so to speak.